Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. For those who don't know me, my name is Isabel Hunt. I'm a certified transformation coach, author of the book The Power of Faith-Driven Success, public speaker, emotions clearing practitioner, as well as I coined the term empath warrior. And so in my I do work individually with empath warriors through my empath warrior program, but I also do clear trapped emotions, and I teach and coach and speak on the topic of emotions. And today I want to talk with you about why emotions are important in relationships, how they can kill your relationships, and how you can turn it around, how they can actually support you. In our society, we know today, that's good. We do know that we are emotionally underdeveloped, and that is a problem. So unfortunately, we have accepted a social stigma that categorizes emotions in bad, good, evil emotions, while in reality, they are actually neutral and simply are higher vibrating and lower vibrating. So everything is energy, and even emotions have a specific frequency. And so that means the higher the vibration, even of our bioelectromagnetic field around us, our own electromagnetic field, the higher it is, the better we feel. The lower the vibration, the frequency, the more prone we are to illnesses and don't feel great. But in our current system, in the way we live in our world society, it is easier to just box emotions in because we don't have to deal with people who experience bad emotions, nor do we want to burden anyone when we do feel down. So that's why we created a little bit of a weird relationship to emotions in our society. For one, we don't want to experience anyone's bad emotions, but at the same time, we respond to someone who is sick, for example, faster than when they are healthy. So it's such a weird twist, and if you think about it, it doesn't make even any sense in how we respond to each other. When someone is in a bad mood, we try to avoid them. When we're in a bad mood, we try to make everyone else feel better around us, or we don't want them to have to deal with us, so we suppress it, and we can't show anger. We can't show sadness. But at the same time, when we're sick in our society, that's when we share it all over, and that's when people come together. And if you want to read more about why that is, I wrote an article. It's on my website, isabelhunt.com, and it's called Will You Care About Me If I'm Well, and how we trained ourselves to respond in that way. But today I want to stay with emotions. We have trained our society to either live out or repress our emotions so that others feel comfortable and want us to be around. The fear of rejection when we feel specific emotions leads us to suppressing and repressing emotions, which is very unhealthy because those emotions get stuck within our body and change the energetic field that is within us as well as around us. The fear of being or feeling left out created emotionally underdeveloped society. And also what we have seen, and we see that with children, we have accepted a society where shaming others for what they feel or making fun of them is more common than embracing and acknowledging them for what they are. And it is literally taking a toll on our society, on our relationships with each other. So I want to share a story of a friend. A friend. Okay, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to share my personal story that I'm sure most of you or many of you can relate to. Now that we're in the winter months, there's a lot of cancellations due to cold, due to snow, due to ice. In the Midwest, people are a little crazy. Like, if there's just half an inch of snow, we're out of school. So I'm not used to that. And my work schedule works around my son's schedule. He is 4, so he's in the school in the mornings 3 days a week. and then I usually work in the mornings, and then whenever I can, or I have a babysitter. But I needed to really get stuff done over the last month, and I couldn't. And it was always that the cancellation, like it takes 4 hours away from me, and that's a lot if you add it up. I missed close to 50 hours of work just this past month, and that was really frustrating. So when they had another cancellation in the morning, I got really upset about it. And then one day my husband came and said, "Why are you even upset about it? You can't change it." It's like, well, I can be upset about it if I want to. I know I can't change it. I'd still feel upset about it. He's like, "Well, you can't change it, so why are you even upset about it? You're just dragging everyone down when you're upset in the morning." I was like, okay, well, since I'm teaching on emotions, and sometimes we have to communicate differently, I said, I have the right to feel upset and to be angry, because in that moment, then that they canceled, my boundaries have shifted. And I had the goals for the day. I couldn't do the goals. Those goals involve other people as well. They involve people that I have to pay, people on my team, my clients. And that means I have to shift a whole lot around just because they canceled school again. And so I have the right to be angry. It was set boundaries that have been violated in that personal space. He's like, "Well, but then I go upset to work and I'm just taking this all on." I was like, well, that is not my responsibility. You don't have to take on what I experience, and you don't have to experience as something bad when I feel angry. If I would be angry all week and just snap at everyone, that would be understandable. But usually I'm just for 30 minutes in the morning, and then I try to figure out how it can work, how it gets better. How I can still make it happen, and I did, but I have the right to be upset. And I'm not responsible for how he experienced my upset. That is his responsibility. I am not here to comfort his emotional state if he doesn't know how to deal with it himself. And so in most cases, we see that in relationships where there's just a reactive behavior. It is known that women are usually a little bit more emotional, but it also means we have a problem with setting boundaries more than men. And so those boundaries are being violated, or it's just overstimulation, over active brain often, that keeps us more occupied. So when, for example, a woman is upset or sad, even for no reason, usually the husband or the partner is responding to it. "Why are you so upset again? Why are you sad? Why do you feel this way?" Or just get out of it, or snap out of it, or what is wrong with you? And that can devaluate the emotion the partner feels. It could be the other way around too. You can switch it. Sometimes it is the same when women say that, "Wow, you're upset, you can't change it anyways," right? It is devaluating what we feel and makes us feel wrong. It's shaming. It's emotional shaming. That doesn't allow us to express, and then we push down, and that again causes eventually problems, physical problems. A lot of people get intestines problems when they push stuff down, back problems, shoulder issues, even ulcers or tumors. That is all repressed emotions, the energy that's not free flowing. Or even depression, anxiety attacks with both men and women, because we devalue what we experience. And so that can kill relationships. And then people might maybe still be together because they experience it as, oh, that is normal, that is how it's supposed to be, but it's not. But if, for example, I would be upset in the morning because I cancel school, because again, I have to rearrange my whole day, and that takes me longer than not doing anything. A proper way, or in a good way to respond would be, "Honey, I know you're upset. I'm sorry that this is going to throw off your whole day and the goals that you had for today. Is there anything that I can support you with?" That way, they're not just watching and taking in the emotion and then go and be mad as well or whatever, but they're taking responsibility for how they want to feel, and expressing support, validating the emotion the other person feels. And when we feel validated, we feel acknowledged, we feel seen, and that creates a much deeper connection between couples. If it's in just boyfriend and girlfriend, in any relationship, really, you can do that wherever you want. But in specific, I want to talk about men and women, men, whatever, the romantic kind of relationship. Okay. So that would have been a proper way or a better way to acknowledge what I'm feeling, and then I wouldn't have felt like I have to respond, and I shouldn't be upset. And I think he got it after I explained him, like, I have every right to be upset. My boundaries were violated. I had plans for today. That means I have to rearrange everything. I have to count on other things to work out. It can happen, but at this point I needed some support. And he's like, well, you can't find a solution. Like, you can't find a solution for the weather. It's like, I didn't want a solution. I just wanted emotional support, that it is okay for me to be upset. That's all there was for it. So I want to encourage you by sharing the story, as well as understanding, if you're a guy watching or if you're a woman watching, doesn't matter. Validate what the other person feels, and then ask what they need and how they may be able to support them. There doesn't have to be anything wrong because they feel a certain way. Maybe it's just something that they thought about, or maybe they are waking up from a dream that it's kind of stuck and they're consciously not aware of what was going on, but subconsciously some story is still playing, or someone hurt them, or there's something else going on inside of them that they need to reflect on, but maybe they don't. But here's the thing, if we all know and understand the true meaning of emotions on a level that we can use it for ourselves, we can support our spouse and ourselves, and therefore we create more loving relationships, and loving relationships means more loving families. Children see how partners or parents are with each other, and we create a generation that is emotionally mature. This is why emotions, or the understanding of emotions, not the current system that we have boxed emotions in, is not working. Higher rates of divorce, guess why? And children are more distressed and depressed. Anxiety, suicide attempts are rising. Obviously, there are different factors, but the emotional system, the emotional maturity is part of it. And so I encourage you to validate the emotion of your partner instead of judging it or shaming it. Emotional shaming is possible even if you don't want it, even though there's a lot of love within that relationship, but it just doesn't help the connection. It just drives people apart. So in my case, I was glad that I knew all that, and so I could explain what was going on, and at some point it was like, okay, well, I get it. So that's something for you to understand, how important emotions are. And the great thing is that I want to mention, in March, I am launching a really awesome course about emotions. It's called The Empowered Warrior, a simple guide to successfully navigating your emotional world. And I think this one is going to be really life-changing if people commit to the course. It's just short videos between 20 and 30 minutes and some cheat sheets to use throughout the day for you to reflect on things. But I think it's going to be an amazing, amazing course. And I know it is. And so necessary. So I'm looking forward to bringing that out. So stay tuned for that. But I hope this video today really gave you some insight and some thoughts in how you can create more and better relationships.